Today on Mostly Democracy Bullshit, the government-controlled Joint Standing Committee on Electoral Matters has recommended that the voting system for federal elections become optional preferential, that voters provide ID when voting, and that by-elections should be scrapped. You heard right. If your MP resigns from Parliament, this committee wants their party to decide on their replacement instead of their electorate. But it's the optional preferential voting and the voter ID stuff that's really abhorrent. Making preferential voting optional means a voter who understands how our preferential voting system works has an advantage over a voter who does not and may not fill out their preferences fully. This is a cynical move to ensure that low-information voters' preferences are self-selected out of the system. It's also the first step in making voting optional in Australia, and then the clusterfuck that is the US voting system looms as our future. Because we make turning up and getting your name crossed off the electoral roll compulsory, the AEC's mission is to enfranchise as many voters as it can and make voting as accessible as it can. Demanding ID from people is the first step in disenfranchising voter groups that your party doesn't like. In the 2019 election, 91.9% of the Australian voting population turned up and voted. That's a turnout that countries like the US can only dream about. While these recommendations have backing from some coalition backbenchers, the government has not responded to them as yet. They do provide an insight into the way the coalition thinks about voters though. And it's not pretty.